Hi, everybody. Welcome to Noah Podcast. I'm Evening Ransom. Today I want to talk to you about raising your frequency. We talk about the law of attraction, and I'm not an expert on the law of attraction by any means. I've learned more and more about this since my son died because I'm invested in trying to raise my frequency to reach his so that I can communicate with him. So it's been a big focus of mine. It occurs to me when doing this work that it's really important because we do focus a lot on a negative thing. And there's a lot of things to think about with that too, about how much energy we're going to spend focusing on the abusers and the abuse and the things that happen versus how much time we're going to spend on focusing on where we're headed now and in the future and going forward. That's always a good question. And, I know that there's a really important part that we all really, really need to go in and investigate what happened and say it out loud and know it and be validated in it because we had so much time where that didn't happen. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that. We definitely do need to do that. But I think that what we have to do is intermittently we have to raise our frequency. When you're doing work like this and you're talking about abuse and you're talking about things that hurt you and harmed you, it's also really important to, in the process of it, every day, try and raise your frequency, try and raise your vibration so that you aren't completely focused on negative thoughts because thoughts really expand. The law of attraction is what you're focused on, you'll get more of. And so we want to be careful with being focused on the negative thing. And so how do you do that? That's the big question. How do we do that? So, when you're in a low frequency, you're in a low state of conscious, you're not able to perceive as well. And when you raise your consciousness, you raise your vibration, your intuition is better. You're able to comprehend more. You're able to perceive new ideas, fresh thoughts. You're not restricting things with ego. You have just a greater flow of intuition and love, which is obviously a good thing. Consciousness and vibrational frequency go hand in hand. When you're in a low frequency, you're at a decreased state of consciousness. Your perception is limited. And when you're in a high frequency, you are in an increased state of consciousness and your perception is heightened. The lower your vibration, the less you are able to comprehend because your ego is restricting the flow of life force and source of energy. It's also restricting the flow of intuition and love. Through your mind and body, the higher your vibration, the more you're able to comprehend because you're allowing a greater full life force through your mind and body. Holding a high vibration, radiating love that is unconditional and non-judgmental raises the consciousness of all those who come in contact with your energy field. Your emotions are a biochemical feedback system, and the emotions are created to reflect back to you at any time what your vibration is. So the best way that you can know what your vibration is to tap into how you feel. It's important to just be thinking in terms of increasing your vibration to distinguish between that which is negative and that which is positive. If you feel an emotion which does not feel good, that's a low vibrational feeling. If you have an emotion that feels good, biochemical indication is that you're at a high vibration. So increasing your vibration is about causing yourself to feel positive emotions. Your emotions reflect your thoughts. Beliefs are really just thoughts you keep thinking. So it's really important to choose your thoughts. Nothing is more important than what you're thinking. Paying attention to focusing on this enables a person to maintain a super high frequency when interacting with people who hold a low frequency. You cannot focus on things that cause you to feel bad and hold a high vibration. You have to focus on things that cause you to feel good to hold a high vibration. So, I'll give you an example. Doing this kind of work, for instance, it doesn't do anybody any good for me to get really into when I hear a bad story about something terrible that happened to someone. It doesn't do anyone a lot of good for me to get really into the trenches with them talking about how awful that was. What I do is I give someone space and presence to talk, completely present with them, all the while envision their best self, envision their best life, envision them not suffering, envision them happy and well, and I can get them to feel some sense of relief. That's a powerful thing to do. To be a doula, I used to help people have babies, be able to maintain a high frequency, a high vibration when they were in a really negative and desperate state. And it was very empowering to do that. Don't necessarily appreciate it in the moment, but definitely afterwards, they definitely do. And you can do it in any circumstance. truly. And there are challenges, for sure there are challenging times. I'm going through one now, off and on. But if you can just, letting people know when they're in a low vibration that they're not alone, that you offer them unconditional love and presence. That's really all they want anyway. That's really what they need and what they want anyway. They don't want you to focus on their negative emotions. Meditation's a good way to raise yourself out of a low frequency because it stops thought. And so it's easier for us to go from a negative thought to stopping thought to a positive thought. The train going in one direction and jump tracks and go completely the other direction. That's why meditation really works. So it slows down the thought. Some alternatives, other things you can do to raise your frequency are to kind of get out of your thoughts or just sort of observe them from outside of yourself, like non-judgmental. Just sort of watch your thoughts floating by like they're clouds in the sky. You're not invested in them. You're not thinking about if they're true or not true. You're not thinking about anything. You're just sort of watching that. Oh, that's your thought, and just watching it float on by and not judging it. You're an observer of it, stepping outside of your ego mind. So that way you're allowing your ego to express whatever it needs to express without getting too invested, whether that's rage or grief or whatever it is. Let it come out. Writing is another good way to do that. Writing's another really powerful way to do the same thing. But you know yourself. If you need to cry or you need to punch a pillow or whatever you need to do to discharge your negative energy, what you enjoy, what causes you to feel positive emotion. So give yourself that and trust yourself above all. But here's a few ideas, a few things that work for me. But, the possibilities are endless, truly endless. Anything that inspires you is going to raise your vibration. Making any kind of positive change, a lifestyle change, any kind of positive change that's good for you. Exercise. Music is one of the best vibrational tools because it crosses all boundaries and it causes you to entrain with it. It causes you to it gets out of your ego boundaries and it causes people to feel good. Frequency to entrain with the music, and that automatically raises them up. Listening to, positive people. Could be spiritual teachers. It could be friends. It could be reading inspirational books, watching inspiring movies, things that make you feel good like that. Definitely being around positive energy people. It's really, really a good idea. Anything that makes you feel good about yourself, feel good about your life, inspires you, make you feel good about your future. And again, physical movement is also really, really good. Dance, of course, is wonderful. That gives you physical movement along with music. That's wonderful. Gets your endorphins going. The chemicals in your body working for you in your favor. Eating right, of course. Getting enough sleep. All those little things we all know, of course. Aromatherapy, color therapy. Keeping a gratitude journal is another really good one. And always stay grateful in all circumstances. It's something I've always known to do. Writing in general is very good at helping you maintain a high frequency. Because it takes some effort to put pen to paper. It strengthens the vibration, whatever you're focused on. So, if you can put your focus on positive energy while you're writing, it's really, really powerful. But just while you're out in the day, try and focus on positive things while you're driving your car around. Notice positive things, notice good things, and say them out loud. Say, oh, I like the color of that house, or I like the way that woman's talking to her child, or I like that father's holding his son's hand, or whatever. Say those things out loud and notice them. Notice things like, oh, the flowers are blooming, or, notice those things. This was something I noticed this is one of the things that my grandmother taught me. She was wonderful at doing this, wonderful at noticing the world around her and saying positive things about it. And she was one of the happiest people that I knew. An attitude of appreciation is always really great, raising your frequency. Spend time in water, or even near water, even if it's a bath. Honestly, a bath, but near the ocean, anything near water, it's really raises your frequency. Have the association to a kind of cleansing, because it vibrationally does. Do random acts of kindness. Anytime you're projecting, love outwards, you're in a high vibration. One of the best things you can do to increase your vibration is an inquiry. Ask questions. Anything you can do to bring yourself into a higher awareness raises your frequency. It becomes easier to permanently hold a high frequency if you're deeply respectful and amazed by life. smile and laugh. Smile and laughter is just smiling will make you feel better, believe it or not. And people can tell if you're on the phone and you're smiling, people can hear it in your voice. They know you sound different. So dedicate yourself to happiness. Prioritize your own personal happiness above everything else if you really care about raising your frequency. If you're dedicated to raising your frequency, you can't afford the luxury of negative thoughts. If you have a negative thought, however, don't resist it, because what you resist persists. Just accept that you are where you are, express it in a healthy way, and then move in the direction of feeling better emotionally. Anything that can bring you some joy is going to help you raise your frequency. Remember that when it comes to raising your frequency, it isn't the other thing you're spending time around it causing your frequency to raise, because nothing can impose itself on your reality. So all that's happening when you're introducing something like music or aromatherapy or a person offering its high vibration, it is your choice now to assume or adopt the vibration as your own and to entrain with it. That is always a choice. Sometimes it doesn't feel conscious that we make that choice, but it always is a choice. You're the one who is ultimately increasing your vibration. Nothing else can cause you to do that. Using the other thing, such as music, aromatherapy, or a person, as an excuse to raise your own frequency by accepting their offering of that higher frequency and then matching to it. Raising your frequency is not as hard as it may sound. It doesn't take cult knowledge and mastery. It simply takes the sensitivity to tune into your emotions, continual introspection, to become more conscious and aware, and commitment to your own personal happiness. Remember that your emotions are the indicator of what your frequency is. You just have to ask yourself, how do I feel? And you'll know what your frequency is and if it's time to raise it. Thanks for listening. I'll talk with you guys later.